Third graders, welcome to Home Learning Day 11. Wow, was I happy with your video conference on day 10. You did a great job. Let's follow our smiley faces to our work. We have much to learn today. No wonder there's so many smiling faces. Look at all those good things to learn. Excellent. Let's take a look at our math. Here we go, boys and girls. More real math problems, not calculating, but real math problems. Let's take a look at this one. Write an equation and solve the problem. There is a stack of sweaters at the store. 6 sweaters have 5 buttons each. 1 sweater has 4 buttons. How many buttons do the sweaters have altogether? Why don't you pause this right now, pause the video, and underline your important information. And of course, reread it, of course. Okay, we're back. Now, if you didn't underline exactly what I underlined, that's fine. It's going to be a little bit different for everybody, but some of these, most of your things should be similar. Now, first of all, let's not forget about the directions. We're looking for equations, and we need to solve that. When you see the word solve, that means to label too. We want to show our work, and then take a close look at what our question is. How many buttons altogether? Okay, how many buttons on those sweaters? Now, when I read this one, I really had to visualize it first. Man, visualize those problems, boys and girls, or draw a picture. Draw a picture. Let's see what kind of picture we can draw. Okay, boys and girls, there's 6 sweaters with 5 buttons each. You don't have to draw the buttons. You know that there's 5 on each. Boy, that looks like equal groups of 5. The sweaters are the group holders. Let's take a look at how we could write that as an expression. 6 times 5. And you notice I am using a little bit different sign. It's the dot sign. We need to keep remembering that there's different signs for our multiplication. 1 sweater has 4 buttons. Let's add that on to our equation building. There's the 4 buttons. We're going to add that on to our total of our 6 groups of 5. Do you see how I put the 6 times 5 in parentheses to help us realize and see the first part of our story problem? Now let's say this equation. The product of 6 and 5 plus 4 equals n. Now we can move it down and solve the problem. 6 times 5 equals 30, plus 4, 30 plus 4 equals 34. 34 equals n. That's not our answer though. I had to go back on the sheet. I wrote down sweaters. Right there where buttons is, you can see where I erased. Double check, 34 buttons. Well, great. Let's take a look at the next problem. Now, there's the answer to problem number 1 written neatly on the paper. Of course, you're doing it in pencil. and you will show some work right here. You're going to show your work. Use the work that I had on the board for you. Put it there. The next problem says, Paula had 60 party treats. She gave 4 away. Then she put an equal number in each of 8 bags. How many treats did she put in each bag? Now read it again. Find your important information. Find that question. I would find that question first and then find your important information. And underline it. Underline that important information. Okay, we're all set. We reread it and we identified our question and our important information. The question is, how many treats did she put in each bag? Now, we know that she started off with 60 party treats before she did anything. And then she gave 4 away. They were probably, some sort of Snicker or Milky Way or something like that. And she probably gave them to her dad. As we continue to read our story problem, boys and girls, we see that she separated them, that might be a hint word, into equal numbers. That's hint word right there, equal numbers. We can do something with multiplication and division then. In each of 8 bags. Well, there you go. 8 bags are the group holders. And we're doing some separating. That sounds a lot like division to me. Let's continue to build our equation. So we have the difference of 60 and 4 divided by the 8 bags. Let's figure it out now. So 60 subtract 4 is 56 divided by the 8 bags equals n, the number in each bag. (56) divided by 8. That's my difficult basic fact. That equals 7. 7 is equal to n. But that's not our answer. We have to label it, and I think we should put a little extra so we're very clear. 7 treats in each bag. Let's take a look at that on the paper. The difference of 60 and 4 divided by 8 equals n. N is equal to 7. 7 treats in each bag. Now turn your paper over and let's take a look at the remembering side. These are things that we have already talked about, but part of learning is reviewing. There's a line plot. There's a chart. So look at that graphic information to answer your questions. Let's take a closer look at stretch your thinking. This is sometimes where I think we need more work. Stretch your thinking. Write a 2-step word problem using this equation. 72 divided by 9 plus 6 equals b. b is equal to 14. What could we do with that? Well, being that softball and baseball season is just around the corner, let's go with Mary, who's the head of the softball league, purchases 72 softballs at the sporting goods store. She then goes home on Saturday afternoon and divides those 72 softballs by 9 team bags. She's getting ready for the teams. The next day, after Mass, she decides to add 6 more softballs to each bag. Boy, I think that works out, doesn't it? Each bag would then have 14 softballs in it. Now, I think you could write a story problem too. During Day's 10's lesson, we reviewed Charlotte's Web, preparing to write our little essay, book report, responding to reading and writing. And today we are going to talk about the parts of a plot. And there they are: character, setting, problem, climax, resolution. Now, as we begin to look at writing our essay, we can start with genre. Well, it's certainly a children's fantasy, and there's lots of reality in it, but you need reality so fantasy has something to grow on, something to work on. Now, our characters are certainly many. Our main character would certainly be Wilbur. Now, I challenge you to also say something about the character traits of one of your favorite characters. Mine is Avery. So I would say about our main character, Wilbur, is that he changes. His character traits change. He starts out as being afraid, lonely, but by the end of the story, he's confident. So when you write about that and you express your opinion, you have to give examples why you think that. And if you're talking about the character trait during a certain part of the story, you have to identify that part, the beginning, the middle, the end. Now, Avery, he certainly is my favorite. He is, I think, so funny. He loves life. He's having a good time. And he really, really is inquisitive. He likes to investigate and check things out. Now, I would have to write some examples of that to back up my opinion. Inquisitive. Okay, so then the next part of our plot is the setting. What or where is the setting and what time does it take place? That doesn't mean like 3:30 in the morning. It could in some stories. But here, our setting happens on the farm mostly. And then, I would say, modern times. Our problem in this story, or the conflict or complication, is that Wilbur is going to be killed. And he is not happy about that. He's going to be killed to be made into ham and bacon and all those delicious products. Now, the climax, I believe we all can agree that it's when Wilbur wins an award at the fair. That award is really important in the resolution. The problem is solved in the resolution because Charlotte's Web words and Wilbur's award convinces Mr. Zuckerman to allow Wilbur to continue living. Now there's a nice little additional feature that we can think about today. We've talked a little bit about it, but you could also talk in your essay about the theme of this story. The theme runs through the whole story, and there's sometimes more than one theme. Like the big idea in the story, and it's not always stated. I would certainly think we would all agree that the theme is friendship and kindness. Wilbur was seeking friends and trying to understand what friendship was or is, and he had benefited very much from the kindness of both Fern and Charlotte. And then in turn, their friendship and kindness saved his life and made him a more confident, brave, and kind friend himself. Boys and girls, remember when you start your essay that you need to start with a topic sentence. Something like, I would say that maybe you include the genre and the title. I would maybe say something like, Charlotte's Web is a children's fantasy story written by E.B. White. And then you can go on to talk about the different parts of the plot, maybe the theme, and don't forget to include a closing. So remember when you start that paragraph to start with indenting. Let's all join in and sing the Indenting Song. And remember, boys and girls, indent your paragraphs. Ready? Begin. A little to the right, a little to the right, indent tonight, indent tonight. A little to the right, a little to the right, indent tonight, indent tonight. And remember, boys and girls, go Zephyrs!